All right. Okay. So I'll get started, guys. So first of all, I wanted to just share my gratitude and a big thank you for Leon and all the team that has made it possible. I know that you guys have worked very hard to get this done, and that's a very beautiful event that we are attending and participating. And thank you guys for making this happen. So that's pretty cool. From everyone that's watching and that's joining us in this session, thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you very much for contributing. Your contribution is very important, and we do really appreciate that. So, everyone, without further ado, because I am owning you guys a minute. My name is Raphael Santos. I am a PPM consultant here at Sensei Project Solution. I'm a blogger, speaker, Microsoft MVP, and I am based in the city of São Paulo, Brazil. I think I skipped the first slide, but we are just going to be talking about the creation of dashboards in Microsoft Excel with data coming from Microsoft Project. So we will use Excel to create dashboards, very powerful dashboards with data from Microsoft Project. So as I said, that's me, Raphael Santos, based in the city of São Paulo in Brazil. Here we are 2 o'clock in the afternoon, very beautiful afternoon here in São Paulo. That's my LinkedIn, and you have my code there as well that you can just ping me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. If there's anything you would like to discuss, I will be more than happy to get you guys into a discussion. And also, very little mention here. You have to be aware of the kids. As you know, we are all working from home. At least here in Brazil, we're still working from home. And I have two troublemakers here that can, show up at any time. I informed them that that is gonna be busy, but in any way, if there's something that happens, just be aware that those two troublemakers can appear sometime here. Right. So we will be discussing the creation of dashboards, right? The creation of reports, as I said, in Excel with data that comes from project. So when we think about enterprise reporting, that's pretty much what we have in mind. That's pretty much what we want, right? So we want to have a very nice report. In this case, I'm using an example as a Power BI report, but we want to have a very nice report with KPIs and distribution of information based on owners, percent of completion, issues, risks, so we can have a comprehensive understanding of how our portfolio of projects looks like, right? So that's basically what every single organization that runs projects wants to have. The problem that we have, or the situation that we have, is for us to be able to get to this point, for us to be able to get what we want, we need to understand what it takes. And that's the problematic part. So the what it takes question is basically a collection of actions and a collection of users and roles playing different a collection of users playing different roles within our organization. And once we have all of them, once we have them now working together and collectively, we will be able to have our enterprise reporting, right? So we would have to have our project team, which are responsible for conducting the tasks, making sure they are acting and working on project A, B, C, and D. So they have the tasks that need to be done. After that, we will have the project managers who will receive this information, make sense of the status, organize their projects, reschedule tasks when needed, and make sure that they have the projects updated and reflecting the latest changes that have been applied. And then only after that, we will be able to have a comprehensive set of reports and dashboards that can then be shared with executives. But one thing that's important here when we think on, the enterprise reporting and what it takes for us to be able to have all of this together is that more than just have all of the processes and more of just having all of the people who should be involved on this, the project team, the project managers, the executives, everyone that will be acting somehow to put all of this information together in a way for us to have these dashboards and these reports available, is that which are the tools that we are using. Because on this case, if I want to have a comprehensive set of dashboards, panels, KPIs, and indicators that I can see and I can use to make decisions about my project, my portfolio of projects, I would have to have a solution such as Project Server or maybe Project Online. We have the new project for the web that also allows us to have this kind of information. And this is something that some organizations and some companies do not have. So actually what we do have, what we see more often happening is that we have in reality a project team that works on a particular project. They move their information or they share their information with the project manager. So this task has been done. This task is still to be completed. This task will only happen in the next month, for example. So they will share this information with their project manager. And then we have the project manager individually creating his own reports. So that's pretty much what's the common sense or what we see more often. So it's kind of islands isolated from each other. And then if we get started spreading this across the entire organization, it gets even worse because we will have our project teams, we will have our project managers, they will be kind of organized into silos. They will kind of create their own reports. Their reports won't be displayed or won't be shared with their management or with the executives in the organization. And we never really know uh, collectively what's the status of the projects or what's the status of the entire portfolio of projects if we don't have a tool or a platform such as Project Online or Project Server, which are PPM platforms created for the execution of projects, of portfolios, of programs, right? In this case here, we even have a situation for a project manager that doesn't create reports at all because he maybe just don't have time. He's so busy that he doesn't have time to create the reports for his projects. And here we might be talking about just one single project being managed by project manager. What if we have multiple projects being managed by different project managers? So how can we collect all of this information? How can we organize all of this information if we are not using a solution such as Project Online and Project Server? So that's one of the questions I get more often. This is one of the questions people are always asking, and I was just trying to come up with a solution for that. So our goal here is really to give people visibility. We need to give executives, we need to give PMO members, we need to give project managers, we need to give team members visibility into what the projects are looking like. And we need to make sure that this information is easily accessible to them, that they can have a platform to use that, even though they are not subscribed to a bigger or a formal platform such as Project Online or Project Server, right? So in that sense, we are coming up with a very interesting solution in which we are going to put together Microsoft Project, the desktop application. We are going to be putting together Microsoft Access and Microsoft Excel, so then we can make happy reporting. And the way it works is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. And we are going to be doing this a very hands-on session today to understand how this can be configured, or how this can be achieved. So it all starts with Microsoft Project. And with Microsoft Project, we are going to get this data saved as a Microsoft Access database. So as a project manager, I would be able to manage my schedules, to manage my projects, make sure they are up to date, make sure they are reflecting the reality, make sure they are showing the appropriate information. And once this is done, I can, based on a periodicity that is defined by my organization, it can be monthly, it can be weekly, it can be daily, depending on how often my organization wants to see this data. They can export this information from their project desktop application into Microsoft Access. So they can save this data as a Microsoft Access database. And once I have this information as a Microsoft Access database, we can then use Excel to connect to the Access database, since there's going to be just a list of tables and views. And we can make this happen. We can create our reports based on whichever information is important or relevant to us, which is pretty great. So let's do the following then. Let's get our hands dirty. My presentation wasn't based on PowerPoint. I don't want to spend too much time on PowerPoint because I wanted to go straight and show you how we can do that. All right, so let me do the following then. I will be going to the folder I created for the event. And I have here my MS project schedule. So I have a lot different enterprise project. I have different project schedules saved on my machine. I will pick one of them. So for example, the Butterball R 350. I will open this one in Microsoft Project. And here's my project, right? So as you can see, this is just a standard regular project schedule. I have my tasks. I have my duration, the duration for the tasks, start and finish date, predecessors, resources assigned to tasks. You know, it's pretty vanilla, pretty straightforward Microsoft project schedule as we are used to. So now say that I am at the end of a reporting week, and I need to share this information in a way that my management is going to be able to consume this data in the reports that they create. So I will do this initially for an individual project, right? So for this particular individual project. So what we need to do is, if I click here in the report tab, I have this option that's called visual reports. And one thing that's very important for you guys to understand and to know is it doesn't matter if you are using Microsoft Project 2019, if you are using Microsoft Project 2016, or even if you are using Microsoft Project 2010, for example. All of those versions of Microsoft Project have this option, the visual report option, and this is a lifesaver. So we click in the visual reports, and once we click there, the dialog is going to open. I hope it opens here. And as we are running into a live presentation, live session, there's always this, wow, I clicked and it didn't open. No, let me go back and see what's going on. And this project doing this with me in front of all of you? I think so. Huh? Okay. If it wants to play the game, let's go ahead and get project finished. Right, so let's try it again. I will open up project again. Okay, let's go to report, visual reports. And for some reason, it's not opening. Interesting. So let me check something else. And I swear I tested this morning before going to the presentation. So let me see if I just open project, a blank one, if it's gonna work, or if this is a bigger problem. So it's a blank project, has nothing, visual report, visual, it's it's broken. Interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So let me do something. I have a backup for that. So what's going to be happening, everyone, is unfortunately, as you can see, my project is not collaborating. So let's do something here to basically bypass this. I will share, and you can ping me, or I can then share this through the chat window. So I have created an article about this in 2017, maybe. Let me go and check that. Yeah, I think this is the one that we're looking for. Pretty beautiful reports. Yeah, here. So I have created an article in 2014, but yeah, it's still valid. So I just wanted to show you how this is going to look like. So when you go to project and then you click visual reports, what's going to be happening is it's going to be opening a page like this. And there will be an option that we can use to save data. So here is in Portuguese because at the time I wrote this article, my computer was in Portuguese, but in English it's going to be save data. So we can click, once I clicked in the reports tab, then I would be able to click here and save data. And then there will be an option for you to save these as a database, all right? So the trick here is once we are saving the file from within Microsoft Project, we have to change the extension of the file to be MDB, Microsoft Database, right? So originally the file is gonna come as MPP, which is Microsoft Project, and we need only to change the extension of the file to be MDB, Microsoft Database. So once that's saved, the system is gonna create, let me go here to my folder. The system is gonna create a database in your machine, whenever you have saved that. And here I have some examples. I'm lucky that I had saved the databases before. So as you can see here, I have a couple of different databases that have been saved. So I have this one called Automated Sensor System. I have this one, Diesel Engine. So those are all exports that I did this morning from projects that I have here on my machine. So basically that's it. So you go ahead, you click reports, then save data, then save database, and then you change the extension to be MDB. So then this is gonna be how your data is gonna look like. So here I have my different projects, automated sensor system, diesel, electronic. I have an Excel spreadsheet, but it doesn't matter. I have all of my databases here, and they have been saved as or using the names of the original file, right? And just to go back, I have here my project files. So they are all here. And you can see that my database names, they have exactly the same names of the files. The only difference between them, as I said, is that they have the extension. Their extension is MDB. So they are Microsoft database files. All right. And just, I just wanted to give it another try, just one more time, because this is pretty strange. So report, visual reports, yeah, it froze. Interesting. Okay, no problem. So as I have explained the process to you, what we can do next is I have an Excel spreadsheet that I have created in preparation to this session. So let me go and pick it up. So events, Excel, yeah. So here's my spreadsheet. And in this spreadsheet, let me close out project or finish project because it's really not working. Okay, so this is, as I said, so this is an Excel spreadsheet that I prepared for this presentation. And let's remember what we need to do and what the context is, right? So we have one or more project schedules. We have exported their data into an Access database, and we have saved the Access databases in our machine locally. Of course, that if you are taking this into an enterprise level, you may have an internal network in which the files are going to be saved. So the files are there, right? So once the files are there, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be consuming this data. So I'll be clicking data and then get data. And in this case, if I want to create a single report that's going to be used or that's going to be consuming the data for a single project, what I can do is I can go and get data from database and from an Access database. So I'll be doing that. It's going to ask where the files are stored or where the files are located. I will click here in databases. And I will pick one of the projects or one of the databases for one of the projects that I have. Let me go ahead. Just before I pick one of them, I wanted, because I was playing with the example of the Butterball, I wanted to understand which project has some data in it. So let me check this one. Okay, warehouse, right, it does have data. So we are going to be picking in Excel the database for the project warehouse inventory tracking system. So this is the data I will be importing. And since we are using Power Query to do this import, it's going to be asking where is the table or where is the view where the data is available, right? So in this case, the view that we are going to be using is this one that's called MSP EPM task. So this is where all the tasks are stored. So the tasks when we export from project into Access, the tasks they are exported to this particular view here that's called MSP, which stands for Microsoft Project EPM task. So I want to connect to this one and I will transform data instead of loading. Because as you know, or as you may know, we are going to get lots of information. So we are going to get lots of columns, but to create my report, I don't necessarily need all of the columns. I just need a portion of them, because not all of the columns will be useful for the report that we want to create. So what I will be doing is I will be choosing columns here. And once I choose columns, I will be determining the columns that are important to me. So I will pick this task internal UID, which is the task index column. Then I will be picking the information if the task is critical, for example. So then I can see the tasks which are in the critical in the critical path. I can pick, for example, is milestone, because that way I can determine if the task is a milestone or not. I can pick the is summary, so that way I can determine if a task is a summary task or not. I can pick the name of the task, of course, because that's very important. I can select the percent of completion, and we need to pick start, finish, and duration, right? Start date, finish date, and duration. I would suggest you to select this scheduled finish, scheduled start and scheduled duration, just because the way the data is saved into the view when we capture from those three fields or from those three columns, they are easier for us to manipulate than if we pick the regular start date, finish date, and duration. So I'll just pick those three here. And finally, I will pick the WBS, because the WBS will give me the level of the task. Is this level 1? Is this level 2? So it's going to be basically the work breakdown structure. So once I do this, I can click OK. I have all of my tasks here. So these are tasks. I can see if they are critical or not. I can see if they are milestones. I can see if they are summary tasks. I can see their names. So that's pretty much my entire project. I can see the percentage of completion, the duration, the finish, the start date. So that's pretty cool. So what I will be doing is, while I am still working in the Power Query, I will create a custom column. I will add a custom column, and my custom column is gonna be task status. So I'll be calling this task status. And I wanted to know if the task is not started, if the task is in progress, or if the task is already finished. And the way I'm going to be doing that is, if the task is 0% completed, then it's going to be classified or determined as not started. If the task is 100%, then the task is complete. And anything in between is going to be in progress. So I will be using an if function here, and I will pick the percent of completion. And then I will say, if the percent of completion is 0, then it means the task is not started. Then I have an else, but I have two other variables to compare, or two other possibilities. So I'll do an else if, and I will pick the percent of completion again. So if this is 1, because the system stores this not as 100%, but as 1, so decimals. So if the percent completion is 1, then it's going to be completed. If not, it's going to be just in progress. So that way we can determine the status of our tasks. And I can go ahead and check, and this is going to be the task status, right? And another thing I'm going to be doing is, I wanted to create some charts that will be displaying me some summary tasks, but I just wanted to get, or I just wanted to receive or to see the tasks which are at the first level. So when you have summary tasks, when you are creating your schedule, you may have multiple levels depending on how many phases and deliverables that you have in your schedule. So what I wanted to do is, I wanted to create a custom column that will evaluate the WBS and that will determine if that item is a first level task or not. So I will create a custom column. I will call this first level. And the way we are going to be doing this is pretty simple. I will be doing an if, and then I will use a function text dot length. And if the length of the WBS is equal to 1, so if we only have one value here, as we are seeing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, then yes, then it's a first level task. But if that's not the case, then I will put just a no. Let me see what I am. Maybe I'm just putting one thing more here. Yeah. If it's 1, then yes, else no. Right. Oops. Am I missing something? Test length. Oh, double text. I'm sorry, guys. Should work now. Yep, working. So now we have the task status and we have the first level. We can determine if the task is first level or not. So I will be just closing and applying. And it's going to be loading the data into my spreadsheet, into a new sheet here. So I'll be just calling this base tasks, for example, right? And what I will be doing is, since I have the area here in my report in which I will be displaying all of the data, I will be just going here, insert a pivot table. The pivot table is going to be placed here in this pivot project status that I have created originally. And then I can get started manipulating my pivot table. So say that I wanted to see how many tasks I have per status, for example. So I could easily put in task status. I could easily ask this to count the UIDs. So I'll be counting this through a pivot table. And I will be putting some filters. So maybe I wanted to say, you know, I don't care about summary tasks. So I'm gonna be false. I just wanted to see real tasks and I don't care about milestones. So it's gonna be filtering out if the task is a summary task and if the task is a milestone. So I can see that this particular project I'm connecting to has 34 tasks. 5 of them are completed, 2 of them are in progress, 27 of them are not started. And then what I can do is I can go ahead, create a chart. I can move this chart into here and I can just get started populating my report, which is pretty good. I can go back in progress, move it up, right? So I can move it up to the beginning. So then it does make more sense. And then I can move it down. So in progress, oops, actually not in progress, should be coming to beginning. So in progress, not started, in progress, completed, which is the appropriate order. When we see here, we have the tasks, we have this information displayed, and then would be just a matter of us, you know, applying formatting, changing the title, you know, displaying labels and things like that. So this would be, for example, tasks by status. Another chart that I could create here to this particular report would be, can I, for example, display what's the percentage of completion for my summary tasks? So if that was the case, I could easily go ahead, duplicate the pivot table. And once I duplicate the pivot table, I can remove the task status because I do not care about this anymore. I can remove the task UID, the count, because I don't care about this anymore. And maybe I will bring in the task name and the percent of completion. If I do that, we are going to be seeing that there are lots of tasks. I may have to say, now I do care about summary tasks because I only want to see summary tasks. So those are all my summary tasks. But maybe if I plot this into a chart, so let's see how this is going to play. If I put this into a chart, the chart is going to be too big. I don't want, I don't have, you know, too much ability to organize this in a better way. It's not going to look like, you know, quite right. So what I will be doing is, since we have created this first level task, or this first level column that will be determining if the task is first level or not, I can add this to the filter and I can say, you know, I only care about first level tasks. So this is my project in summary, right? So we have the warehouse tracking system, planning, initiation, execution, controlling, closing. But then we have a different problem now because my chart is looking better, but we have a different problem because it's organizing this alphabetically. So what I can do is I can add the task internal ID here within the name in a way that we can change the field settings to just be tabular. and we don't care about totals, right? So this is how the project is, this is how the table is going to look like. 0, 2, 13, 20 seconds, 69, 71. So the chart's going to be respecting the order of in which the tasks happen, right? And then just to make the chart a little bit better, I will be just changing the order here to be largest to smallest. So then this is going to be basically changing the way it's displayed. So we get started with the project itself. Then we go into initiation, planning, execution, controlling, and closing. We have the percentage of completion, but the axis here should not go into only 70%. It should be going until 100%. So we have to change the axis. It's going to be running until 1. And maybe I will change its number to be percentage. And we don't care about decimal places. So once this is all done, we can just move this chart into here. And then we have the two, right? So let me align them together. So we have the two. So we have the tasks by status. We have the percent of completion by summary tasks. And we would be able to, let me just put percent completion by summary tasks. Pretty cool. So then I would be able to only go ahead and determine what's going to be added to my chart or to my dashboard. I could put in maybe the milestones, maybe, you know, whichever is important to me, whichever is important to my organization. And then after I am finished, what's going to be happening is after the project manager is playing with the schedule, after the project manager is managing his or her projects, they can just go ahead at the end of the reporting period. They can export their projects into the database again, replacing the old Microsoft Access database. And once that's done, all I have to do is go ahead and refresh the data, and my Excel is going to be displaying the newest information based on what's coming from the schedule. So now we have a way to put together a report that is connected somehow to project and that can be updated periodically, that depending on what my organization has defined, and also can be shared with people within the organization. So we can publish it to SharePoint. We may send it over by email to somebody else. So it's something that's there and can be used as a standard in my organization, right? So that's pretty cool. And there is always a but, or there is always a however. But however, what we have here and we have to pay attention to is we have created a system so far that's only getting data from a single project, right? So if I am talking about that particular single project, that is where this information is gonna be coming from. So for example, here I just forgot to put something else. Let me create another pivot table, and let me say I wanted to see the project name. I only care about the project. So I will be filtering the summary tasks. Actually, I don't need this and I don't need that. I can just go ahead and pick the WBS and select the level 0, which is the project itself. So then when consuming this data in my report, I would be able to say, you know, pick this information from this. And that's the name of my project. That's good. But as I was saying, the problem we have here is that this is only applicable, or this only consumes data for a single project. What if our organization has different projects? So we have maybe, you know, 5, 10, 12, 50, 100 projects, and they are all managed locally by project managers through Microsoft Desktop, and they wanted to have the ability to put them all together in a single report. So how can we accomplish that? So that's the reason I have this portfolio status report available here. And the way we are going to be doing this, it works basically in the same direction. It's the same concept, but there is one difference. So the difference is here in the Explorer, we have our databases, right? So I gave you the example that we may have different project managers. They are using a shared network driver and they are exporting their projects into an Access database and saving their projects in here. So as time goes by, we may have lots of different projects, many different databases that are available in here. So what we can do is, if I want to consolidate all of those projects into a single report, I will just go ahead and have all of the databases available. Then I can go and get data. But now, instead of getting the data from the Access database, which is what we did before, I will go and get this information from a file. And this file is going to be a folder. So I'm going to go to the folder. I'm going to go to the folder. We'll browse. So here is my folder and my databases are here. I will connect to them. So Power Query is already reading all of the content within that folder. I will transform this data. And the reason I had an Excel file here originally was that I wanted to really intentionally leave this file there, because when you are running this, you have to make sure that you are filtering the right extension, right? So the extension that we are going to be filtering here are just MDB files. So it doesn't matter if you have Power BI files or project files or Excel files, it doesn't really matter, as long as you are filtering the extension to only include MDB files. Then once we are connected to the folder and once we have filtered the appropriate extension, we can just go ahead and combine the files. And this combination is going to be done using the MSP EPM task table or view that we had used before, that we have used before. So click OK. It's going to be extracting all of this information and boom, we have everything. So what I will do now is I will do two things here. So first is actually three things. So first is the search name. I will remove the MDB portion. So we make sure that the name is used appropriately, right? So let's go ahead and replace values. So I will do a dot MDB and replace by nothing. So the source is going to be clean, the name of the project. Then I will select the columns as we previously did. But here I will just keep the source. I will pick, for example, the schedule start and finish dates, and maybe the person of completion. Okay, and if we are talking about a particular project level information, let me just include another column here, which is going to be the WBS, because we only care about the task number 0. And the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to create a view that only shows me the projects. So here I'm seeing project level data, the project called automated sensor, diesel, electronic system, and etc. Right? So in that sense, I will rename this instead of being databases. I think it's going to be called projects. It's better. Then I will duplicate this, but I will call this tasks. in the Power Query editor, I will just remove some steps here, because the thing really is, when we are getting the data, when we are seeing all of the information and things like that, I have to make sure that I am selecting the right columns, as we did previously for the tasks. So here we are talking about tasks level data. So we would have to get the source, we would have to get the task internal UID, everything that we did in the first dashboard that we created. So things such as is critical, is milestone, is summary, all of that stuff. Percent of completion, schedule start, schedule finish, schedule duration, WBS and everything. And once this is finished, so we have the projects and their respective tasks. So all of this is finished. Of course, that we would have to create our custom columns here, but I don't believe we will have time to do that. So I will do the following. I will be loading that data. Into my report. So I have project level data and I have task level data. And once this is finished, I have to just go ahead, pick this data, add this data to the data model. So the project data is added to the data model. Then I will go back, pick my task level data, add this to the data model as well. So we have tasks and projects here. And I would be able to go ahead and establish a relationship between them using the source name. I'll pick here projects, come together, projects higher level, tasks lower level, one too many, the relationships created. That's great. With that, I would be able to go to my portfolio status report, and instead of creating, let me move this here and this here, and instead of creating a report to a single project, I would be able to create a report to my collection of projects, to my portfolio of projects. And here I would be able to easily insert a pivot table. Let me put it here. Using the data model that's already built in, and maybe I would say, show me all of the tasks. Let me put something like, oh, task name is missing. I'm missing task name. Interesting. So let me go back real quick and bring in task name. Okay, need to go to this step and bring in task name. Yeah, just love Power Query, right? Have the ability to go back and forth. Okay, task names have been brought, so they are available. And with that, we would be able to go ahead. Once they appear here, I would be able to pick them and use them. Let me check if I just refresh. Source name, or maybe I'm missing something, but you get the idea, right? So I would be able to get the tasks. This is still refreshing. Yeah. Okay, but we would be okay. Task ID, percent of completion, but yeah, it doesn't matter. But I would be able to bring in the task name, for example. I would be able to bring in the percent of completion, and I would be able to, for example, create a slicer to say, I do care about projects, and please show me only the projects in which, show me only the tasks for the project automated or diesel or something like that. That would be pretty good, because that would give us the ability to see how the tasks are performing in a portfolio level. We could organize the portfolio by status, by anything that's important to us in a single database, allowing project managers to, at the end of the day, save or export their projects into Access, and then we would be able to just go ahead in here refresh all of the connections and bring in all of the data from the projects, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so that's all for me for this session on creating reports in Excel using data from Microsoft Project. I will go back here to my slide just real quick because we are really interested in knowing what you thought about our presentation. So there will be the evaluation session. Just go and evaluate the session, share with us your feedback. The Microsoft Excel team is also researching the participants so they can share their evaluation about the event as a whole. And here are all my addresses. So that's my email address, raphael@raphael-santos.net. My website is raphael-santos.net. So if there are any questions, if there is any comment you would like to make, if you wanted to discuss this further, to get into more details on how to create this kind of reports using Project, using Excel, or even Power BI or Project Online or any other platform that is a member of the PPM and project management ecosystem, please just shoot me an email and we can definitely get together and discuss. But as I said, wanted to thank you very much for all of the speakers, all of the organizers, all the audience that's joining us today, or and joined us yesterday as well, and are gonna be joining us tomorrow. And I hope you are having a great event and a great day. Thank you very much, and I'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you very much, Raphael. That was a good presentation, and I've got to say, when I present live and things don't quite go as I expected, I wish I could handle it as well as you do. But no, thank you very much.